Sure feels good to see the Bills do that to somebody else, doesn't it? What an absolute relief. I was speechless. I couldn't go through my range of emotions if I even tried, because it felt like the Bills, it felt like they were going to be off to an 0-2 start with those first two games being at home, which you just can't do. Drop the first two games of the year, let alone both of them at home. And that's what it felt like. But E.J. Manuel was given an opportunity to do something that Tom Brady does, that Peyton Manning does, or is accustomed to doing in his second career start, his second career appearance on the field, and he did it. So that is absolutely something that you can buy into. I mean, I wouldn't say that you should be completely sold on E.J. Manuel. I mean, but you should be optimistic for him and about him, because it looks like he's going to be a quarterback here for a while. Like I said in previous videos, he just appears he gets it. He's a good leader. He's got a good presence about him, and I like it. I like everything about him. On the field, he has missed open receivers. He missed Chandler in the end zone on a seam route. He missed Johnson coming across the middle. He does miss open receivers. He does have a tendency to check it down a little bit, but he's a rookie. I mean, he's only played 2 games. If he can figure out that he has a little bit extra time to stand in the pocket and deliver a throw downfield, he's going to be fine. But I don't expect him to have that completely there yet. I'm just really looking forward to the next couple of games, so the rest of the season with Manuel, to see how he develops, to see how he grows as both a leader, as an individual, as a quarterback, and all those things. What do you guys like? Besides the fact that they won. Kiko Alonso, how about that? Could Kiko Alonso win Defensive Rookie of the Year? I think that it's more about exposure, and that Tyrann Mathieu gets more of it, and he has been playing really well, so he might be the odds-on favorite right now. And Kiko Alonso doesn't really get the exposure in Buffalo, but he already has a whole boatload of tackles, an interception, a fumble recovery, a sack. He's doing it all. He moves so well from sideline to sideline. I'm very excited about him too. Very excited. Spiller played well. Jackson played well. It was kind of amazing that they were in that predicament that they were. Down 6 at home, only 17 points on the board. And that has a lot to do with Manuel, I guess. Because his efficiency in completing passes and whatnot isn't translating into a whole lot of points, which, granted, is not a huge problem right now. Because, I mean, let's face it, he put up 23, then 24, or 21, then 24, and granted, 7 from New England was by our defense. So he's not putting up a whole heap of points, but that's. I mean, you can't expect him to all the time. Carolina's defense is pretty good. And I think he did a good job of beating them up, really. When he needed to. Completed 27 of 39 for almost 300 yards. Got the touchdown when he had to have it. Clutch. How did he not get flagged for taking his helmet off, though? How? How does that get by everybody? The referees, the coaches on Carolina, the players on Carolina. How did that happen? But what an absolutely crazy moment that was. Wow. Wish I could go back to that. I was losing my mind in section 221, 222. And if you were there, I know you were too. I hope you didn't leave early. Hope not. But anyway, I'm going to go back to the defense again because I talked about Kiko Alonso. Obviously, we got to talk about Mario Williams setting a team record with 4.5 sacks. Just beasting out there. It's the kind of performance you've been waiting for Mario Williams, and it finally came through. Not against maybe the opponent you wanted to, but at least it came through. I mean, he could not be blocked. He should have had another one that he kind of bounced off Newton. It was sweet. I mean, he was just... It felt good to see him do that. And now he's the sack leader after 2 weeks because of his performance in one game. And this week, he gets Austin Howard again, who kind of beat him up in week 1 last year. And when I say beat him up, I don't mean legally. I mean, like, punched him in the face, blocked him with a face mask, and there were replacement referees who didn't even realize it. But that's not going to be the case this time. I think Mario's got an advantage. And I think the Bills have a slight advantage coming into this game. They're on the road. It's going to be EJ's first start on the road. So we're going to see how he does in the road environment, in a more dangerous environment, if you will. Interested to see that. But he has Spiller, who ran wild on the Jets last year. The Jets still have a pretty good defense, and I believe Quentin Copeland is going to be back. Muhammad Wilkerson is going to be there. Cromartie's still a pretty solid corner. They're not a bad team defensively. And you know that Rex Ryan kind of wants to show Mike Pettin, the Bills' defensive coordinator, that it was like his baby. You know what I mean? The defense that the Jets were running was Rex Ryan's. Mike Pettin was just sort of like a face for it. And I know Mike Pettin wants to do the same thing to Rex Ryan, show that the defense was his idea and his play calls and whatnot. And they're both against rookie quarterbacks. Geno Smith, EJ Manuel. That might be a story that you're looking at, Geno Smith versus EJ, and how they perform against one another. But I think primarily it's going to come down to, which a lot of times it does, it's just something that often gets overlooked, offensive lines versus defensive lines. Can the Bills, Eric Wood and company, keep Copels and Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson, the rookie? Can they keep him can they keep EJ up? He's only been sacked once. It was the one he fumbled on last week against Carolina. So they've done a pretty good job thus far, but they're going to get different looks this week. The Jets are a little bit unconventional of a defense, as are the Bills. So that will pose a similar threat to the Jets. However, Pettin knows how Rex Ryan coaches. Rex Ryan knows how Pettin coaches. So it'll be interesting to see the offensive blocking schemes, the offensive play calling that they call against the defense. Like, we'll find out if they were paying attention pretty much all last year to what their defense was essentially doing, what their weaknesses were, what their strengths were, where blitzes are coming from, what pre-snap reads and whatnot. I'm definitely interested to see that, and I never thought I would be so interested in the Jets, because I thought the Jets were going to be terrible, but I thought Sanchez was going to be starting, and Geno Smith sort of gives them an interesting dynamic on offense. Granted, I don't think they're that great on offense. Santonio Holmes is far past his prime, or his best days are behind him, that's for sure. He's got that foot injury that's lingering. At running back, they have Powell and Ivory, and Ivory runs angry. I really kind of like Chris Ivory, but they do 50-50 split it with Powell. And I think that the Bills are going to see heavy running up the tackles. Now, the Bills have allowed quite a bit of yards, I think, up the middle. At least they did to D'Angelo Williams. And they did kind of to Shane Vereen, too. So, I would expect. I don't know. Like Nigel Bradham seems like a bigger line. I mean, he is a bigger linebacker. I don't get why he only played one defensive snap against Carolina. In case anybody was wondering, he only played one defensive snap. So I would think he would be in there because of the matchups that the Jets offer up. They don't have very intimidating physical presences they don't have Greg Olsons. They don't have Steve Smith coming across the middle. D'Angelo Williams coming out of the backfield. Cam Newton's running up the middle. Granted, the Patriots didn't either. They just had Tom Brady, and I think that the Bills were going with more athletic matchups. Bradham saw the field more than he did more against the Patriots than he did last week against the Panthers, obviously. So I would think he'd be on the field more, along with Alonzo, obviously. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you about Jarvis Byrd. I really don't. I can't. I just expect him not to play. That's really all I can say. Expect that he won't be there. He hasn't been there so far, and they fared all right. I think Steve Smith was running kind of wide open at times last week. I thought McKelvin did a pretty good job, an adequate job. But Steve Smith got away from him a couple times, and Cam Newton missed him. So kudos to the defensive line for putting the pressure on Cam. Mario Williams, Marcel Darius, Kyle Williams. They're going to have to do the same. They're going to have to give a similar effort pretty much every week. Well, especially while the corners are hurt, especially while Gilmore's out. I don't think Gilmore will be back until the week after the Cleveland game, because even if he is healthy before that, I don't think they'll rush him for Cleveland. And if he's ready for Baltimore, which I don't think he's going to be next week, I don't think they'll give him 2 games in 5 days. Or, 4 days, whatever. I just don't think that that's an ideal scenario for that, so I think that Gilmore should be back in Week 6 against the Bengals, which will need him for A.J. Green. But that's my Gilmore thing. McKelvin, Rodgers, oh my God. Justin Rodgers. Makes great play in Week 1 to get that interception and just gets burned by Ted Ginn, who the Bills just can't cover. He's like Chris Chambers. The Bills just can't cover him. It's so frustrating. But it's more frustrating watching Justin Rodgers be an NFL cornerback. I'm not saying I could do it. Justin Rodgers, if you ever happen to watch this, you're a better NFL cornerback than me. I'm comfortable saying that. You are far more athletic and probably way faster, way smarter on a football field, but you're just not that good of a corner. I applaud your effort, but like Doug Marrone says, don't confuse effort with results. He's getting cooked! I have loved the play of Aaron Williams, however. He's like tied for 3rd in the NFL in tackles. He just puts his nose in everything. He loves playing safety. I can tell this. He may have been a little apprehensive about the move at first, but I can tell now that he loves playing safety. And he should, because he's pretty good at it, actually. Cersei was a lot quieter this past week, but it was all about the defensive line of Mario Williams and Kiko Alonso. Front 7 for the Bills looking pretty good. I think they can disrupt Geno Smith. Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions in the 4th quarter last week against New England. He has this kind of thing for Kellen Winslow, so the Bills need to be aware of that. But I think the Bills' defense completely trumps the New York Jets' offense. They just have to be wary of the runs up the middle, in between the tackles. And they can shut that down. I think they'll be fine. Geno and Cam Newton they might not have the same throwing mechanics or the same throwing abilities, but athletically they're very similar, and I think the Bills did a great job holding down Cam Newton, and I think they can do the same to Geno Smith. I think it's going to be up to EJ to convert in the middle of the field. Maybe get the ball to spill a little bit more, less in this shotgun formation as we keep running. First play of the game for the Bills, they run out of I formation. Frank Summers gets open for a 35-yard gain. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think the Bills need to adjust that. And, for everyone complaining about this hurry-up offense, you're right. There's probably times where it's good to slow it down. But because they hurry up so much, I think that led EJ's ready for this minute 42 left on the clock drive to get the Bills down the field to score a touchdown, and they do it. So, preparation is key there. And he'd been doing it the whole game, and he did it then, and he got the Bills to win. Huge confidence boost for EJ, huge confidence boost for the coaching, for the whole team, because they can believe in something that works. So with going on the road to the Jets, I'm a little bit nervous about it. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park again. I can't see the Bills winning handily, but I can see the Bills winning. Pretty low scoring, 19-13. Bills beat the Jets. Guys, it's almost a 16-minute video. Thanks again for coming this far. Follow me on Twitter. It's the same as my handle for YouTube, GTORLONE. Talk to you guys on Sunday. As always, go Bills.